Hey everybody, Jim here, and today I'm going to tell you about some Japan-only PlayStation games. Hermi Hopperhead Scrap Panic is an awesome 2D platformer released in 1995 and developed by Sony Computer Entertainment. I suppose the big emphasis on 3D graphics in the West at the time is the primary reason this game didn't receive an international release, which really is a shame. The story is kind of an odd one. Hermi Hopperhead is a seemingly normal kid, just roaming around his neighborhood when suddenly an egg pops out of a trash can, grows arms and legs, and is suddenly sucked back into the trash can along with Hermi, who ends up in some kind of parallel world that's been taken over by garbage monsters. As you play through the levels, you can pick up and take eggs with you to be used in various ways. You can also collect lots of stars in every level, and at the end of the level you can divide them up amongst the eggs, which can hatch after you've given them 100 stars. This game doesn't really do anything revolutionary, but what it does do, it does very well. It features some very tight controls and fun platforming action. It's also a really good looking game, showing off some excellent 2D graphics, as well as some great sound design, the music in particular, which is a kind of lighthearted, jazzy soundtrack. On the whole, this is a great 2D platformer that sadly never made it out of Japan. Toki Densho Angel Eyes is a 2D fighting game featuring an all-female cast that was developed by Tecmo and released in 1997. In terms of graphics, sound, and gameplay, this is a pretty solid title. The gameplay is fast and fun with a lot of possibilities for combos. The characters are all quite unique and each have an array of cool special moves, and rounds open with both fighters jumping right into each other, the fastest one getting the first hit, which I kinda like. The graphics are nice with some good looking characters that animate fluidly and some colorful and detailed stages, though there are a couple of characters that they chose to model in 3D for some reason. Not to great effect. The sound design is also nice with some good songs, sound effects, and voice work. All things considered, this is an enjoyable 2D fighter and worth picking up if you can find it for a good price. Kuruden Pa is a puzzle game developed by SkyThink System and released in 1995. It actually reminds me of Super Puzzle Fighter to a certain extent. The object of the game is to link together as much of a fuse as you can before lighting it with a flame. There are also bombs that you can attach to the ends of the fuses that can ignite other adjacent fuses when they explode. There are a number of characters to choose from, and you're always playing against an opponent, which adds an extra sense of urgency to the gameplay. The graphics and sound in this game aren't anything amazing, but they're charming in their own way. Overall, it's a fun puzzle game that you can play alone or with a friend, If you feel like there's a shortage of puzzle games in your PlayStation library, you might consider getting a copy of this one. One-on-One is a very interesting take on the sports genre. As the name implies, it's a one-on-one basketball game developed by Jorudan and released in 1998. It plays basically like a cross between a basketball game and a fighting game. There are 2 rounds, and you play first to 11. There are 8 characters to choose from, each with their own unique stats, so some are faster or better at shooting, while others are more powerful and better at blocking and dunking. The character design is overall pretty cool, and there are some really nice signature dunks. The controls are a little tricky at first, but it doesn't take too long to get used to them. The graphics are okay. They're not the best 3D polygons I've ever seen, but they're not terrible either. The sound design is also kind of middle of the road. The music isn't anything memorable, but it does the job. Overall, this is a very unique sports title that's also really fun.
Tip off! Ready? Tip off!
The Super Dimension Fortress Macross, Do You Believe in Love? Is a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up based on one of the Macross movies. It's brought to us by the combined efforts of Emotion, Big West, and Bandai, and it was released in 1999. As far as shooters go, it's honestly nothing that great. It's a bit on the easy side, and there aren't really any power-ups or totally crazy enemies to speak of. As a Macross game, however, it's pretty awesome. You get the signature robots that can change between 3 different forms. There are a lot of cutscenes taken straight from the original film, as well as some new animation made specifically for this game. The gameplay has you blowing up lots of enemies in the foreground, background, and center with bullets, missiles, and bombs, and it's pretty fun despite not being terribly deep. The graphics are very nice, especially during some of the big battles set in space, and the sound design is great too, with some awesome music and sound effects taken straight from the anime, and some good voice work as well. It feels like this game was made as a huge fan service to Macross fans. If you're not a fan of Macross, you may still be able to enjoy this game simply as a shooter. If you are a fan of Macross, however, you'll be sure to get some extra enjoyment out of this one. Check it out. So there you go, 5 really cool Japan-only PlayStation games. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments what console you'd like to see featured in a future episode. Sayonara.